Hello and welcome to today's live stream. My name is Jamie and I'm here at Happy Fabric UK. So if you don't know us already, here at Happy Fabric, we specialise in heat transfer vinyl, heat presses and self-adhesive vinyl. We also recently launched our new product of heat transfers. I'm wearing one of them today. So all the things you could possibly need for heat printing and crafting, whether you're a crafter or running a small business, here for you at Happy Fabric. So today's live stream is all about cutting machines. So while cutting machines, there's a lot of brands on the market. You may have heard of Silhouette, Cricut, Brother Scan and Cut. They are all of our vinyls here at Happy Fabric are compatible with any cutting machine. But the question we're trying to answer today is, do you need a cutting machine? Is it the right investment for you? So what can a cutting machine be used for? So aside from cutting HTV and vinyl like we do here with our cutting machine, you can use it for all sorts of things. The machines on the market are so intelligent. For example, I've got with me the Silhouette Cameo 4, and this machine's capable of cutting cardstock, vinyl, even certain types of leather and chipboard, so all sorts of different projects at your fingertips. So the way these machines work, I'll just open the lid for you there. So they've got blades. See on the Silhouette, the blade sits here. It is possible to put more than one tool in this machine at the same time. You've also got a really handy little compartment over here. I can open it from this angle, and that is where you can store your extra blades as well. So there's all sorts of great features built into this cutting machine to help you out with storage and things like that. So this is the Silhouette Cameo 4, as I said. It comes in white and it also comes in pink as well. There are lots of different size cutting machines you can get as well. So this, I would say, is a really brilliant size if you're working with things like HTV, stuff like that. They also sell the Silhouette Portrait 3, which is smaller. You can get other smaller cutting machines like the Cricut Joy, which I think is the smallest that I've seen on the market. But I would really recommend going in mid-size in the range, depending on what you're making, of course, and how much space you've got to work with, so that you can progress to bigger projects when you need to. The Silhouettes themselves do go all the way up to the Silhouette Pro, where you can cut entire rolls of HTV. So it's about 500 millimeters, so pretty big. As I said today, we'll be working with the Silhouette Cameo 4. We do sell silhouettes on our website, either on their own or as a heat printing bundle. So you can get your happy press, cutting machine, accessories and materials all in one place, which is really handy, especially if you're looking at starting a business. So back to cutting machines and what they do. So the process for cutting HTV is really, really simple with this cutting machine. A lot of our customers start their HTV or crafting journey cutting HTV using scissors. So you can use a stencil on the back and cut by hand. Of course, this isn't sustainable if you're running something like a business, or it might not be sustainable in terms of time as well, especially if you're looking to get some really detailed, professional looking results. So as an example, the sorts of things you can make really easily. So you've got this lovely face mask, so you can cut text, which comes out really beautifully, and then these lovely star shapes there. And then you can also layer your vinyl that you've cut as well. So you can cut different layers of your design in different colors, and it gives you a really professional looking finish and result. So definitely getting a cutting machine 100% levels up what your projects look like. They look a lot more professional, neat and tidy. So in terms of how the cutting machine sells, actually the process and how they work, you will need to download the design software that comes with your cutting machine. So as I said, we're using the Silhouette Cameo today. So this does come with free design software called Silhouette Studio. So once you're in Silhouette Studio, you've got the ability to add text, you've got shapes, You can do all sorts of fun things. You can also draw something, like with a whiteboard marker, for example, on a piece of paper, take a photograph of it, upload it to the design studio and trace it so that you can cut out your physical drawing into HTV. All sorts of fun tips and tricks. You can also design your design in something like Procreate if you're more into digital illustration. You can buy SVG files online or download them from our website for free. There's lots of different ways to design your projects. So whether you're artistically gifted using things like Procreate and all these different tools, or if you're just like me and your design knowledge is kind of basic, there's loads of tools in the design software and ways to input designs from other spaces as well. So please don't be put off by investing in a cutting machine if you don't feel that you're artistically gifted or techie sort of person, because they're so easy to use once you know how. So as I said, you use the free design software to make your design, and then if you're cutting into something like HTV, really important before you cut anything out is to mirror your design on the software. So make sure, because you're cutting into the back of the heat transfer vinyl, you need to make sure that any text or anything like that is flipped the wrong way round, so that when you put the HTV on your clothing or whatever you're making, everything is the right way round. So once you've done that, the next important thing is to make sure you've got your cut settings right. So in the same way as applying HTV with a heat press, you might need a different temperature or time setting to apply the different types of vinyl between glitter and flocked, all that sort of thing, is you will need your cut settings. So very helpfully, we're a very helpful bunch here at Happy Fabric. With every vinyl order that's placed, this is also available on our website to download as well. We have listed all of the cutting settings for you on here. So what makes the Silhouette so great as a cutting machine is you can actually adjust your blade depth, all your different settings very, very precisely on there to move between different materials and make sure that your cut is perfect every time. So once you've input your cutting settings, you can actually save the materials on there. So for example, if you're working with a certain type of vinyl a lot, or you want to switch between materials often, just save your cut settings under the name of the material, and then next time you come to work with it, you don't have to input anything. It already knows what settings to use. So nice and easy, we've got our design in Silhouette software, or if you're using another cutting machine like a Cricut, you can use Cricut Design Space. Once your design's ready to go and you've remembered to mirror the image, you've put all your cut settings in there, and now it's time to actually cut. So you turn your machine on. I love that noise. So as you can see, it's lit up this panel here. There is a blue light on this side, which is showing me that it is able to use Bluetooth. So that's another great thing about cutting machines. You don't have to have them plugged in. If you've got a smaller workspace, make sure obviously the machine itself is plugged in, but you don't have to plug it into your laptop or device. Sorry, it can work off of Bluetooth, which is really handy. So you've then got these two arrows here, another control panel here that lights up when you need it. So it's also got this lovely illuminated logo at the top that says Silhouette Cameo. I don't know if you can see it, but it is really pretty. So our blades sit here. You have the ability to take them out and change them depending if you need a bigger blade or you're cutting a different material that requires a different blade. You can also put two blades in at a time, so you can move swiftly from cutting something to writing, for example. You can also switch out the blades to pen attachments so that you can do nice calligraphy, all sorts of fun things once you really dig into it that you can do with these machines. So the next step would be to load your material in. So you can just load your material in normally. There's also a pull-out drawer here, kind of like a printer for the materials to lay on. But what we prefer to do here at Happy Fabric, and I really recommend, is use a cutting mat. So there's lots of benefits to using a cutting mat with your cutting machine. And what they are is essentially they come in different sizes. So we don't just sell Silhouette style mats on our website. We also sell mats that are compatible with Cricut and other cutting machines. As I said, our vinyls are compatible with all cutting machines. So they're nice and easy to use with any machine that you decide to purchase. So this is what the cutting mat looks like. It's got these squares and they've got measurements around the outside to help you decide how big you need your project to be. It's also, I don't know if you can hear that, it's quite tacky as well. So they come in a range of different tacks depending on how sticky you need your surface to be for your material. This one, I think, yep, this is a light tack for HTV, which I feel works best. If it runs out of tack or if it gets lots of debris on it over time, you can retack them yourselves. So this is kind of a one-time investment that you can keep using over and over again. So once you've got your cutting mat, as I said, you'll want your HTV to go shiny side down, because remember, we're cutting into the back with a cutting machine. This isn't true for self-adhesive vinyl though, so do watch out between your materials. Silhouette is really, really good because as you go to press cut on your machine, it will give you a little pop-up reminder, send mirrored or send as is. So it will remind you before you cut anything, do you need to mirror this design? Really handy. So once you've stuck that down, so make sure it's nice and firmly there so it won't move at all. The other great thing about these mats is if you have a smaller piece of vinyl, maybe a scrap or several scraps even, you can lay them all on the mat so they stay in place and cut a really cool design out of those as well. So to load the machine, all you've got to do, it's really handy, you've got arrows marking either side, so you line that up, just press the on arrow, and that's your machine loaded. So I'm not going to cut today because unfortunately my laptop is a little bit too far away to talk to the machine, but I have already cut some bits out so we can see what the next step of the process is. So once you've loaded the vinyl into the machine, put your settings into the design studio and press send. All you have to do is sit back and wait for it to cut. Now these Cameo 4s and above are extremely fast at cutting. What would take you about 2 hours to hand cut takes it about 5 minutes. So even the more detailed designs really is crazy what it's capable of. So I'll unload that. So your next step will be, once it's cut out, is to weed it. So this is a process I think confuses people until they know how it works. It seems scarier than it is. All it is removing the excess vinyl from around the design that your machine has cut. So as I said, I cut these out earlier on the Silhouette Cameo. I don't know if you can see, probably not very well, but the cut lines in there. Another really handy tool to talk about with cutting machines is a weeding tool. So these can look different depending what one you prefer to work with. So this is I feel like a YouTuber. This is a hooked ended weeding tool that we use here at Happy Fabric. And it's really cool because it's got this little LED light on it. So absolute must have, I would say, if you're working with vinyl, grab yourself an LED weeding tool because it helps you be able to see those lines and where you're working, whatever your craft space looks like, whatever the lighting is. If it's darker HTV, always be able to see with one of these. So what I've done when I was in the design studio, this is some text that I've cut out. I've actually placed a box around the design, which is a really handy trick for any cutting machine so that you don't A, waste vinyl, and B, it's easier to weed because all you've got to do is pull away the shape around your text, which will leave you. So I didn't even need a tool for this. Happy Glitter is so nice to weed. So you can see it's just coming away there. So that is essentially how you would weed. Like I said, the hook tool is really helpful, especially for vinyls such as Happy Flex. So if I show you an example of that. So again, I've popped the box around this and I'm just going to cut, make it a bit easier to demonstrate it. Just going to cut roughly around it. So all of this leftover vinyl as well, Definitely worth keeping if you're working with HTV. Never throw anything away, because you can always put this, again, stick it to your cutting mat, and you'll still be able to cut a nice professional design out of that. So again, take your weeding tool. It's a shame you can't see this closer up, but all you want to do is just drag one of the edges, and then you'll simply be able to pull the excess away. And it's always really exciting when you've used the cutting machine, because it just looks so professional. So I've not taken the insides out, but that is my name. I'm just going to pick the rest of the pieces out. So what's really cool as well, if you cut this in multiple colors, for example, the same design, you can layer over to make your text look 3D, all sorts of fun things you can achieve really quickly, really easily. So there we go. So that was my box that I drew around the vinyl. So if I take that off, like that, it's really satisfying weeding, I think. It's a Marmite thing. I think you either love it or hate it, but I think it's a really fun kind of therapeutic part of the process. So there we go. That is a very basic example of what you can achieve. So if you remember the examples I showed you at the start, things like this. So really the benefits are, as I said, to using a cutting machine is it will save you a lot of time, definitely got more professional results. I would say if you're working with HTV, you really, really do need to invest in a cutting machine to kind of open the doors to what you can create. Also, if you're working in heat printing, it's a really good bit of kit to go alongside a press. As I said, we have got textile printing bundles for people who are starting to level up their crafting or even beginning a business. So definitely make use of those on our website if you're thinking of starting in this kind of area. So that is a very quick run through of how a cutting machine works. Like I said, you don't have to create your own designs all the time. But even if you're just doing things like putting somebody's name, like I've cut out on a t-shirt for a friend or a party or a business order, it's so quick and easy. And there's no wastage either, because like I said, you can keep your scraps and that mat will help you to be able to cut them as well. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to move on to, I can see a few comments have popped up. So we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. So can I use any cutting machine? So yeah, of course you can. So like I said, with any of our vinyl here, whether that's adhesive or HTV, they're compatible with any cutting machine. So the Silhouette, as we sell them on our website and use them all the time, those cut settings are available on our website to download. But they're also very easy to cut on things like Cricut as well under the iron-on settings. So how much is the one you have in pink? So this lovely machine behind me, this is the Silhouette Cameo 4, and these start at £395. So there's no price difference in the Cameo 4s by colour. Same as the Happy Presses, which obviously come in white, pink and turquoise. There's actually 10% off the Happy Presses at the moment. If you're interested in that, that will last till the 30th of June. So do I need a cut machine to make t-shirts? Do you need a cutting machine to make t-shirts and heat print? No, you don't, technically. So as I said, working with HTV, if you're going to be making professional looking designs or you're working a lot with HTV, it's definitely worth getting a cutting machine to enable you to do that. Another way to work in heat printing is what I'm wearing now, actually. I mentioned briefly at the start, so heat transfers. So what you would do is upload your design, whether that's a photograph, text, whatever you like, to our custom transfer site, and then we send it as a ready to press kind of image. So that's what I'm wearing at the moment. So the main difference I would say is with HTV, you can achieve a lot of different finishes and textures as well. So some people really value it for that. So for example, I've got, where have I put it? Got some glitter here, which is lovely. And you can see that on the trainers and things up there. You can get flocked, all sorts of different effects you can achieve with that. Whereas transfers, really great for things like photographs, where obviously it would take a lot of layers of HTV to achieve that level, if at all, of detail. So no, you don't need a cutting machine, but definitely helps, especially with HTV. So is this better than the Cricut? So the Silhouette Cameo, like I said, there's a lot of cutting machine brands out there, and it really is down to personal preference. Personally, I haven't used Cricut products a lot, but I know a lot of our customers use different machines. That's absolutely fine because they are compatible with everything. Our favorite is obviously the Silhouette Cameo. I work with it all the time, and I just love the features available. But it really is down to things as well, like how big your workspace is, what your budget is, what features you're looking for. Like I said, you can change the cutting settings on the Silhouette to be very precise for blade depth, thickness, speed, all that kind of thing. So it really just depends on the type of thing you're looking for and the features that you value most, and the materials you're looking to cut, obviously, as well. So it's definitely worth doing a bit of a comparison and research yourself to see what fits you best. So do you need a mat? So you don't actually need a cutting mat for the Silhouette Cameo 4. You can cut materials without it. Like I said, it's really handy because it keeps your material dead in place, and also you can cut those smaller pieces as well with no problem. That's not true for all cutting machines. Some cutting machines, you do need a mat to use them. So definitely check that before purchasing a machine. So where can I find the mats? Do they work with Cricut too? So they do, yes. So as I said, we've got some accessories available on our website. And while all of them are compatible with the Silhouette Cameo, the cutting mats are also compatible with Cricut. Just make sure you look out in the description for which ones are and which ones aren't, depending on the sizing and things like that. So yep, absolutely. Oh, I need that weeding tool. So yeah, these are a little bit special. Really excited about them. So they come with a lid. So obviously you don't have any sharp edges laying around. As I said, they've got that hooked edge there. And most importantly, that LED. It's even comfy on the handles. So definitely, at the very least, if you take anything away from this live stream, is that the LED weeding tools are a game changer in terms of accessories. So there we have it. That is a very quick roundup of, do I need a cutting machine? As I said, it's very much down to personal preference. For example, the size and the features of the cutting machine you use. If you're using it for something like HTV, there are so many tutorials online, including on our YouTube channel. So definitely check those out. If you do have any more questions about cutting machines, you want to see them in action, please do get in touch with us and let us know. But for today, I think we will leave things there. Like I said, have a browse for our YouTube channel. We've got so much content to help you start your small business or level up your crafting. So all these machines are available on happyfabric.co.uk. Again, starting with the smallest cutting machine, which is the Portrait 3, that's £191, up to the Silhouette Cameo 4, which is £395, and then all the way to the bigger one, which is the Silhouette Pro. It's huge. So I'll see you again soon. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments or get in touch with us directly here at Happy Fabric. See you soon.